Trying to bring a sequel back after close to or even more than 20 years can definitely be a hit or a miss. So which side does Independence Day Resurgence fall onto? Let's find out.
It has its own gravity. What goes up must come down. Shouldn't we be nervous? Yeah.
Independence Day Resurgence is directed by Roland Emmerich. It brings back some cast members from the first film, most notably Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, and Brent. It introduces us to a younger group of cast members headlined by Liam Hemsworth, Jessie, Usher, and Maika Monroe, as well as a ton of others. This story picks up 20 years after the events of the first film. Humanity has won the war against the aliens. We've recovered some of their technology. Over the past 2 decades, the countries of the world have united like never before to create some sort of a global defense system in the event of any future attacks, and all is looking well and morale is at an all-time high. The only problem is the aliens have had just as much time to reconfigure their battle plan, and they decide to basically attack the planet with a ship that's so big they don't think there's anything anybody can do to stop it. In a sense, if you were to take my head as the planet Earth and this is the alien ship, it kind of just comes in and does one of these, and from there all shit hits the fan, battles ensue, a massive mother alien will need to be killed, and you can pretty much guess the rest. Even before watching this one, I was a little bit worried about how good it was going to be. The trailers absolutely boasted some massive over-the-top action that just looked fantastic, but they also delivered a lot of generic dialogue, a lot of melodramatic moments, and I was a little bit curious about how it was all going to turn out. There was just a lot of characters in this movie. They tried to blend a lot of familiar faces from the first film in with these new younger characters. The only problem is the writing for these characters was very generic, the characters were very uninspired, and that chemistry between the cast members in the first film that made it so great was not even close to being matched in this one. But this film still was the classic definition of a summer popcorn flick. If you could turn your brain off and just disregard the convenient storyline, laugh at some of the cheap humor, and just sit back and look at what this film takes in, you will get much more enjoyment out of this sequel. But the first film for me is an all-time classic. It's got so much nostalgia to it for me, I wouldn't even be able to begin to count how many times I've seen it over the years, so it's safe to say, going into this movie, I knew I wasn't going to like it as much as the first one, but I still had a completely open mind to it. I sat down and I was like, okay, wow me, but it just didn't. And I thought the action was very good. There were some awesome sequences in this one. The special effects looked fantastic. There were some great aerial battles that pull you right into the middle of all the chaos. They were a little bit messy at times, but they still worked. The aliens looked really cool. The 3D was great at pulling you into the action, and for that aspect, there was a lot of scenes where I was up in my seat really engaged with what was going on. And I think Jeff Goldblum was a saving grace in this movie. Now, I like him pretty much in anything he's in, so you can take that with a grain of salt, but the scenes that he were in were the few that I was actually connected with when there wasn't a lot of shit blowing up. And his and Bill Pullman's characters were the two that I could really relate to and connect with the most. Not that I didn't try to embrace this younger cast, but they were so thinly written, there wasn't a lot of development to their characters. They were just kind of inserted in here and there. So in the long run, I really didn't care what happened to their characters throughout the storyline, and I wasn't engaged with them at all. And the performances by the younger cast were not bad by any means. They gave their best effort, but they had not a lot of material to work with. Their characters were thinly written, and no substance to them really at all. So when it came time for them to deliver some of these melodramatic lines, it just kind of came across as laughable rather than intense and dramatic like they wanted. And I also wasn't very impressed with the writing for the character of Dr. Okun, played by Brent. His performance was just fine, but his insertion as the comic relief in this movie just wasn't getting it done for me. And a lot of the lines he had and the moments he had were just as cheesy as the 20-year coma gimmick they were using to try to bring his character back. I just didn't like that direction they went with that character at all. And despite not connecting with this story at all, it was still a fun movie to watch. It had all the action that you'd want for a summer movie. There were some laughable moments that do land. There was a ton of them that don't. The special effects were great. Everything looked really cool. It was just a very disappointing script for an Independence Day sequel, in my opinion. And after a while, when I realized that this story wasn't going to do anything for me, I kind of just tried to take the film in as a show. I sat back with my glasses, I looked at all the shit blowing up, all the colors, everything flying at me, and just kind of looked at it as 2 hours of entertainment, and for that aspect, it wasn't a complete failure. But this movie is worth watching on the big screen. It's a wild disaster movie, alien invasion flick. There's tons of things to look at, all kinds of stuff blowing up and going on all over the place. But the first Independence Day to me was an all-time classic. This just kind of feels like a young adult science fiction inspired movie with no novel to base it on, and I'm going to have to give Independence Day Resurgence a C+. And in the end, it just felt like too much of a recycling of things that we've seen so many times over the years in these disaster movies. I did have bouts of fun watching it, but as an Independence Day sequel, I'd have to say I'm just disappointed in what they gave us. And that's really all I had to say about this one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review of Independence Day Resurgence. Did you see it yet? What did you think? Solid sequel, hit and miss? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. As always, if you'd like to check out some other reviews, here's some links for you to click on. And if you like videos like these and you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm Anthony. This is a Silver Screen Analysis, and I'll see you guys at the movies.